G'day guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape, a podcast where we chat to people doing rad things in the mountain bike industry. In this episode, we are chatting with two of my favourite humans, Renee, Junga and Grant Allen, both rad people who work down at Push Industries, and we've kind of just catching up with them and talking about what they've done over the last couple of years. Thanks to Trek Bikes for sponsoring and supporting this podcast. They make some of the raddest bikes, and man, they've got some cool stuff coming out in the next few weeks. Frank Mountain Bike Apparel make the best apparel on the market, hailing out of WA, super lightweight, super comfy. Don't forget to use the code BeyondTheTape10 at the checkout for a bit of a discount. Shred Bike Care, honestly, the best bike care goods you can get on the market. Absolutely love their bike wash. Super powerful without damaging or washing away any grease. Fist handwear, man, there's something cool coming out there. If you've checked out Lewis Buchanan's Instagram, check it out because, some really cool stuff happening at Fist. We might have something happening with them soon as well. Taylor Trails, these guys offer the best solution and best opportunity and best experience whenever you go down to Tassie and want to ride the best trails. It's really just the best, I guess. Lead Out Sports, amazing tool importer and amazing component importer. They don't just import the best tools on the market, they also import Unite components. I've been running their cranks, absolutely amazing. Can't say enough about them. Dirt Surfers, 100% recyclable, 100% customizable, and 100% recycled material mud guards. Capped Out Cap. In fact, Grant and Renee are both running capped out caps on their bikes, on their Bowheads. Really cool, unique, custom headsim caps for your bike. And then lastly, Oakley. Been keeping my eyes protected for the last couple of months. Absolutely love it. Anyway, that's enough chit chat. This episode is quite inspirational and we go on to a few things. So I really hope you enjoy it. So as per usual, grab a beer, grab a water, grab a wine and enjoy this episode. Well, Grant and Renee, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We've both been on here before, separately.
Yeah, I know. And it's good to have Renee down here to do this together type thing.
Now that COVID's over.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
What brought you down to SA from the Sunshine Coast and all the sunny stuff?
Well, our house got bought by the government because they were widening the highway and we were on the block of land that they wanted. So... yeah, we had to move anyway, and Grant sort of hinted that there was a job going and all my family lives down here. So, I spoke to my partner and we're kind of like, he loves the mountain biking down here and he's like, yeah, we'll give it a go. So, yeah.
And what's it like being in winter right now down here?
Yeah, no, we moved at the very wrong time because I think we got 2 days before it got cold.
Had to buy a jumper because you probably didn't own one, or?
Oh, I had a couple, but I had to get them out of storage.
I think that was a big thing though. It's like, yeah, for sure. Like Renee and I, like had always like sort of spoken like a bit before and knew each other and everything. And yeah, I think, it was the sort of thing. Originally we even floated the idea of Renee working for us up in Queensland with one of my other colleagues up there. And then it was just like, that was an idea. And then the idea of coming here, became a thing as well. And Renee Neal's house was being acquired, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've known of Renee for a long time and everything like that, and I thought she'd be a really good fit with what we do and everything. And I was quite happy for her to come here and work rather than work with Alex in Queensland.
Didn't want to give her skills away, let someone else have it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, I mean, for those that don't know, but what is Push and what do you guys kind of do here? Because it's so out there and different to anything I've seen before.
Yeah, I guess I can say my thing and Renee can her take on it as well. But I guess, we Push Mobility is an equipment supplier and we have a focus around just simply helping people with cool stuff, really, is what I always sort of say to people. But, I guess in terms of equipment, we have a focus around active manual wheelchair users. So I guess paraplegics, quadriplegics and things like that use a self-propelled, manual wheelchair. We don't do really anything in the space of powered chairs, but I guess, the wheelchair sort of side of it is, one thing, but the probably now the even bigger part of it, that we are doing more and more of is obviously the adaptive bikes. And and sports equipment. So, and I mean, I guess I have a background with road hand cycling, so we do that sort of stuff, but we obviously do all the Bowhead bikes, you know, which is the leader in terms of the adaptive mountain bike space. And that's, I guess, like both like mine, you know, and Renee's passion. And yeah, I guess like that's a huge thing for us. But I think overwhelmingly the thing that we really do is just simply just like helping people, you know, like with really cool things and just doing a, you know, a good job of it really. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your take on it, Renee?
Yeah, pretty much what Grant said. But yeah, it's just crazy, like the amount of equipment and stuff that is coming onto the market, and you don't really know until you come into like a place like this and you see the scope and the range. And yeah, it's cool to see people come in and just get stoked on what we sell, and like, yeah, it makes their life better as well. Yeah,
I think it's, for most, I guess, people outside from what you're doing, they only see the hospital wheelchair, right? Like the blue-backed piece of garbage with the grey tyres and barely rolls. And that's what their idea of a person in a wheelchair uses, right?
And I guess that's the thing, like we do nothing like that, you know, like it's just like everything we do, you know, like is cool and interesting stuff. And you come into the building and I guess like, you know, there's like bikes, there's, you know, like cool chairs and things like that and equipment, you know, beach gear, and just everything is geared up towards people living active, healthy and fun lives and things like that. It's, you know, I guess it's a really warm and welcoming environment. It's not stale or anything like that. Like you come in here and it's just like, oh, like it's actually a really cool and nice place to be, rather than something it's just like, oh, it's like an old person's home or a, you know, you know, just a hospital. So it's nothing like that. So
yeah, there's no square tiled carpet out there at all.
no.
Even I just walked in like, this is the first time I've been here, and I'm like, this is a place I want to hang out. Like, there's nothing here I want to buy or can afford or need. And I'm like, this is actually just a sick place to hang out.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Awesome. I mean, we're lucky to be here. It's a really cool space. So
What is it? Obviously, you've both got your stories from the action sports and everything like that. Is it a bit? Does that help you kind of motivate your customers or your clients trying to get out and try new stuff because you guys are experiencing it yourselves, instead of having maybe someone that's sitting in an office chair at the NDIS telling people what's cool? Like, are you able to kind of open up the ideas for your clients a bit as well?
Absolutely. Like, I feel like clients and customers seeing us in chairs gives them, you know, an idea of what's possible. Like, I know my experience, like dealing with a lot of wheelchair suppliers, it's a lot of old able-bodied men that have never sat really in a wheelchair in their life. Whereas, you know, the customers come in, they can see both of us being wheelchair users, and, you know, we're out there active, like living life and, doing cooler stuff pretty much than what we were doing before our accidents as well. So,
100%. Like, what's possible? Just like, you know, people come to us, you know, like a lot of people come to us like as a chair user and don't even realise that we're both chair users. And they arrive and they're just like literally like, oh, like, you know, like, you know, like you get it. And it's just like, oh yeah, like, you know, and then, you know, a lot of people come in, like we see so many people really like that do come in that like, you know, like don't have any idea of just like, you know, what is possible in terms of getting out and being able to do fun and interesting things. And it's just like, oh, like, I want to do this, but I don't know how, or I can't, you know. And it's just like, yes, you can, you know, like you just need this, like, you know. And showing people that is like, it's awesome. Like, and I guess like a big thing that like I always sort of say to people is like, I guess, you know, with the bikes, like especially of what we do, you know, like the gift and the joy of riding them, like is like one thing, but like for me, probably like, you know, the greatest gift of all is actually sharing it like with other people, you know, and enlightening, you know, like new people to it. Whether it's, you know, an 8-year-old kid that never, you know, like realised that he could be a mountain bike rider or go bike riding, or whether it's, you know, like literally like, you know, a 6-year-old, you know, man that just like wants to go out and, you know, like explore national parks and, you know, like has been told no, or, you know, doesn't, you know, like think that he can. And, you know, like here, you know, there's this that you can do it with. Like, you know, that's the sort of thing that's cool. And, you know, sharing that is, really cool to be around. So yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be crazy seeing like, especially the older crew that might have just lived through having those average wheelchairs. Now you're just opening up this whole world to them.
Yeah,
That's wild.
It's like the sort of thing, especially like, you know, like we do like equipment trials, like with the bikes and things like that. And, you know, it's just like people get really emotional about it and stuff, like just because, you know, like it's just the sort of thing, you know, I can remember doing a trial like with one of the other team members that we work with in Melbourne, and like she's an OT. And like her first week that she was working with us, like she came and did a week like working with me, and I took her out like doing a trial like the Bowhead, and she was like literally in tears, like, you know, just happy for, you know, the guy that was riding it. Like
that's so
like,
sick.
It's so cool. So people just like froth on it, you know. It's just rad to share that. So
sorry. Seeing their faces light up as well, like, you know, you come in here, and we've got like the sit-down paddleboard sitting up there, and people are like, oh my God, I didn't know that was possible. Like, yeah.
That blew my mind. Now you mentioned that when I saw you on them, and
it's even funnier like when we take it literally down to the Port River and people see you wheeling down with a wheelchair and then just like jumping out your wheelchair and jumping into the water. That's pretty funny, you know. Like people buzz out on that stuff. Cool. So
man, I saw it and I'm like, I don't really like standing, so I kind of want to do that and just grab a VB and have a good time out there. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's cool.
Are you guys kind of working with brands as well to push the boundaries of this equipment, and you've got ideas, and are you working with them to kind of develop what can be done?
Yeah, definitely. Like I guess like you know, like especially with the people that like we partner with, like, you know, like we partner with people, you know, that are like us, that are passionate, you know, and want to do really cool things. And I guess like, you know, like we work with the guys from Hands On Concepts, who are like a team of like 4 guys out of San Diego that's like making cool stuff, like in terms of like custom wheelchairs, you know, like they're wicked, you know. And it's just like you can dream up something like crazy and stupid and just be like, oh, like we need this made, and they're like, cool, let's do it.
Have to figure it out.
Yeah. And then obviously like with the Bowhead guys, it's just like the whole thing with them is just like, you know, I guess like we're really fortunate here in the fact that we can ride all year round, whereas like those guys really only get to ride for probably 6 months of the year. And so we can ride, you know, like so much, and like there's stuff that like, you know, like I know like, you know, that like, you know, I see things for the bikes just because like I'm riding it sort of so much, and then can relay that information to them, and they're just like, cool, you know, like we can, you know, like do this, make this better, all that sort of stuff. So
Move on to the Bowhead kind of thing and that development story. But Renee, you've got your big bike. I can't remember what brand that was.
Yeah, it's called an Explorer. Yeah.
And that's kind of like a more original kind of template or design for off-road hand cycles and what they can do. But now you've jumped on the Bowhead. What's so different about it and makes it so capable?
So I guess like the width is a huge thing like to start with. The Bowhead bikes are a lot thinner, so they can fit pretty much down most mountain bike tracks. They're that.
Yeah,
like they're the width of a handlebar, like 800, less than 800. 740.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they can fit down most tracks. And the other huge thing is like the articulating front end. So my Explorer bike, if you're going off Camber or anything like that, it just tips. Like there's nothing to keep it. Like it's got suspension and everything, but it does, like to roll over. Whereas the Bowhead with the articulating front sort of, it just hugs onto the tracks and the camber and everything. So just opens up a huge, like another level of tracks you can ride and things you can do with it. Yeah.
And we're talking about your clients and your customers having those experiences and their eyes open. What was it like for you to go from wheelchair to the hand cycle and then to the Bowhead? Like how eye-opening it was it for you?
Like the Bowhead wasn't like able to come, well, you could self-fund to get a Bowhead when I got my other bike.
Yeah.
Whereas the other bike I got through NDIS, so I had to get a local Australian distributed bike, and at the time Bowhead didn't have anyone in Australia. So like for me that was awesome at the time because I'm like, I can get back out on a bike, go ride with my partner, like, you know, that was wicked. But then you get sort of, as you ride more and get more confident, you find the limits. And I was getting frustrated because I knew I could do more than what the bike would let me do. And yeah, now like jumping on a Bowhead, I've got to like retrain my brain of like, I can actually do these things like now because I'm so used to seeing knowing the limit of the other bike and sort of pulling myself up. Whereas, yeah, there's been a few times on the Bowhead where I was like, oh no, I can't do this. And like sort of stopped and I'm like, oh wait, we're all good. Like, and can keep going. So yeah, it's just sort of like that next level of, you know, being able to do what I want to do. Yeah.
And that articulating front end is wild. I tried to explain it to someone yesterday and I literally had to show a photo of Grant at Junga because they didn't understand that you're like straight and the bike is off camera. And is that a weird feeling compared to the other one, or is it more natural to the original bike feeling?
I think like cornering is like a huge thing because you've got to like push the bars away. Like you're not leaning into the berm, you're pushing away. So that takes a bit of getting used to because I'm so used to like having to lean my whole body and everything on the other bike. But, you know, like after a couple of runs, it sort of,
Got used to it, yeah.
And it's awesome, like, seeing, we chuck customers on the bike and, like, just sit them there and, like, get them used to it and you just see them, like, computing in their brain of, like, oh, yeah, this is sick.
It looks like you're riding a quad bike. Like the quad bikes, if you lean, like, the bike in, it will roll. But on the quad bikes, you're out. And it looks like you're hanging on and almost cycle speedway and down, down a mountain. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, like trying to sort of relay it to people, like just, you know, like I think a lot of people just like almost overthink it like at first. And like I always sort of try and explain to people the whole thing of just like, think of it like it's like sweeping your hands one way, you know, and the body the other way kind of thing. But I think it's like the less you think about it, like, and the more you just do it, like it becomes intuitive kind of thing. Like if you just sort of like, you know, like take your time and don't try and like think about it too much. It's better that way kind of thing. Like some people sort of come into it, you know, like all prepared and have done all their homework in their head kind of thing. And then it's just like, you know what, just like let your head stop and just ride it kind of thing. So
take your brain out, see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Was it cool to see what Grant's doing in the bike and knowing that that's what the bike was capable of and now you can just go for it?
Yeah. Well, kind of. I've still got to... There is like still limitation. Like Grant has a lower injury than me, so he's got a bit of ab stuff, whereas I'm higher up, I don't have abs. So it's a bit, harder for me to do crazy stuff. And I don't, mentally as well. Like,
It's honestly the sort of thing though, like, you know, like, I think some people like get hung up on that sort of stuff, but it's like, it's honestly just like being out and riding it, like is wicked. And like, you know, like some people sort of, you know, like I know like when they've like tried it or whatever and stuff, you know, like not be disheartened, but just like, oh man, like, you know, like you make it look like so easy. And it's just like, you know, like I ride it a lot and like I probably do ride it like at a pretty high level. I was just like, just enjoy it, you know, and like we had fun and like, and it's just like, look, just like do that. And it's just like, I know for me, it's just like, it gets better and better like all the time, you know, I always relay that to people. It's just like, you know, like the more that you ride it and understand it, you know, like, and get confident with it, the more it gives back. Like it's very, very rewarding like that, regardless of, you know, like your level, you know, like, you know, it's just one of those things like, it's like anything, I guess, but like, you know, like, I think it is definitely something that like, you know, like there's things that you can kind of look at, like, and I know like even when I first got it, just like looking at it, something and just thinking like, oh, like, you know, like, oh, I probably can't do that on it. And it's just like, now it's just like it goes way above and beyond, you know, like that sort of stuff. So, and it's fun as well, like that kind of thing. Just like, just to sort of grow with it kind of thing. So, but yeah, especially on the RX, like the pedal assist bike, like that's one that sort of takes more time to sort of, you know, learn and know. But like, yeah, the more you put into it, the stronger and fitter you get, and you know, the more technical skills you get, the better and better that bike gets. So it's wicked.
Yeah, it all comes down to that, like speed is relative even in normal bikes. Like a beginner's fast, my fast, and a World Cup rider's fast are all different speeds, but they feel the same. Exactly. Like they just feel fast.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just like I think that's a big thing for anyone riding any sort of bike. It's just like, you know, you don't have to do crazy things or go a million miles an hour. You know, like just literally just do it to the level that makes you happy. You know. Yeah.
Just get out in the bush with your mates. Like
yeah.
And how's the pedal assist one work differently to the non-pedal assist one? Like,
Yeah. So I can probably answer that better than that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because so there's the two bikes. Like the Reach is like a regular mountain bike, handlebar and motor driven. And then the RX is basically like a pedal assist with a Bosch Performance Line CX motor.
Oh,
in it.
yes. Yep.
So it just uses like a standard, Bosch unit that like regular e-bikes use. But yeah, then it has handles and you pedal. So yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sick.
but yeah, I guess like the RX, yeah, like you obviously have to work to ride it, that type of thing. You have to work to ride both bikes. Like even the Reach, like with the motor only, like is a real workout to ride. People often ask, like, oh, like, like how long does the battery last? It's like, dude, don't worry, like you'll be worn out before the battery runs out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, the RX is like, I really like the RX. If I had to have one bike, I'd have the RX. But they're both wicked to ride. But the RX is great. Just like I find, because it's just like, you're getting the fitness and the cardio sort of aspect out of it, but you can still ride technical trails and things like that. And then along with that, there's the whole thing of, like, I guess like it's a little bit quieter. It's very rewarding in terms of like what you put in, like you're getting back out of it and everything. And it's just wicked. It's like the coolest thing. I love it. So yeah, it just blows me away like how good that bike is. And it's kind of funny because like I was so focused on like the Reach first, like, and wanting to have that and to jump it and whatever else and ride downhill and everything. And I rode the RX like first. That was the first bike I rode, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's kind of fun. Like, but I was really focused on the Reach instead. But now it's just like the RX is like the one that I would, jump into sort of straight away, and kind of cool because like it does jump, like, and it does like all the downhill stuff, but like I can still, like ride and rip and be fit on it and absolutely rinse myself as well. So it's wicked.
Does it give you more of like a standard pedal bike sensation because you're a little bit more self-powered?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just like I go out and ride like with mates on normal bikes and things like that, and I can ride, with someone who's on an e-bike, and like we can both, like rinse ourselves. I can ride with someone, like who's A-grade fit on a regular, like I guess like acoustic bike or whatever, and like we can still both rinse ourselves and, like, and keep up and ride at the same pace and stuff. It's just, yeah, because of the adjustment, like, like in the modes and things like that, you can ride, to be able to keep up, like with the people that you're riding with and things. So, yeah. And because it's a little bit quieter is kind of cool as well. But at the same time, blasting downhill laps and stuff, like on the Reach, like, with your mates and stuff, like, on downhill bikes or, long travel enduro trail bikes, like, is sick as well. So both good fun.
Because that Reach is surprisingly loud.
It does make noise. And I mean, it's just like, there's no apologies for the noise that it makes. It's just how it is and everything like that. Like, it's just, I had someone sort of say that the other day. It's just like, oh, like it does make a bit of noise. And it's just like, would you rather be at home, not riding?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, point taken. Yeah.
You mentioned jumping the thing, and Renee was like, she made it. What's it like jumping that thing? Because it looks physically pretty brutal. Like the landing and stuff is pretty hectic. But
yeah, it's actually like really, like cool to ride and jump. Like it's just like, kind of like naturally sort of like noses, like and stuff like that. But like it's kind of perfect. Like, some people are like, oh, like it noses in. It's just like, no, it's actually like really good, like when you're riding it and stuff like that. But that's just like how it works and things. And it's definitely, like a bit going on to do it and everything like that. And some jumps are better than others and things, and you kind of work that out as you do it, kind of thing. But long lips, smooth transitions and things like that definitely help. And like using the throttle at the right time and stuff is, like really, like a skill learned and stuff that helps, kind of thing. So but it's wicked fun, like you're cheating the system, you're a wheelchair user out riding an adaptive mountain bike and launching it. It's rad. So yeah.
So is it like a moto where you got to kind of throttle on slowly on some of the lips, or?
Yeah, it's kind of good like to have throttle off the lip. Like,
So I don't get how you jump the RX.
There's
no throttle on that. It's,
jumping the RX, like the pedal only one is like definitely, I don't know, like without sounding probably stupid, like it's not something that like many people really, like can or do kind of thing. But it's like, I've found a way to make it work, I guess, kind of thing. But that is like definitely a tricky one, especially because you got handles like that you're holding that like freely move and stuff as well, kind of thing. You're not holding a rigid handlebar, so that's a pretty tricky sort of proposition. But you can do it, like it's possible. So
more of taking that brain out again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Have you tried jumping one yet?
Not the RX. I can jump the Reach.
Yeah,
I've done that, but yeah, I've only ridden the RX like twice.
Yeah.
And I don't have the fitness that Grant's got, so it was I wasn't getting up to those speeds yet.
What was it like jumping the Reach again, or jumping again?
It was awesome. Like my bike tends to be a lot nose heavier. Like I've jumped at the pink bike and it just doesn't. It felt a bit sketchy because I was like nosing in without any control. But with the throttle and the Reach and everything, and it was pretty well balanced. Like it didn't feel sketchy at all. Just I think it was like the first time we were on it, we went down to the track down the road. And Grant's like, just throttle before that and hit it. And
Grip it and rip it.
It does it does work really well though. Like it does it does jump like really well kind of thing. So it's super stable and good. So
Well, going back to what we were talking about before, it's developed by people that are doing that, right? Like they're actually riding stuff in Canada and ripping the trails. It's not the old guy behind a desk with his engineering software out. It's actually being done. So what's it like seeing the guys in Canada and the guys that might be a little bit ahead in riding these things? Are you guys getting inspiration from them, or like how's that interaction kind of going?
I think Grant's pretty up there.
Yeah. Or are they just looking at goddamn Australians for just doing it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just like riding it and just do my thing or whatever. And like, I don't know, there's probably some things that I can do that others can't or whatever. And it's like, cool, whatever. I just like riding it, and it just, it's fun or whatever and everything. And there's lots of good guys that like, like do cool things with them. And it's fun or whatever. And I guess like there's a part of me that does like doing things that other people perhaps like can't or won't kind of thing.
Haven't noticed. Never seen it.
But I guess, the big thing that I always just sort of say is I just enjoy riding my bike, like that's the thing. It doesn't matter whether I'm riding up a hill or down a hill or jumping it or whatever, or even riding on the road, I just enjoy riding my bike. That's the thing that I love most. So
sick. You mentioned before about like the width of the wheels and how they're kind of the same as the bars as 740. You came down a while ago, Renee, and rode the Orange Whip Trail here on your first bike, and that was a big adaptive trail, and then ran into a problem when you got to Blue Groove where it narrowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Are these bikes kind of negating some of the reason for adaptive trails, or is there still more, you need more adaptive trails at bike parks to ride them, or how's the whole trail situation?
Like a lot of adaptive trails are good for like the whole range of like bikes that you can get on the market. Like, Bowheads can handle a hell of a lot more, but there is, people with different injuries, different disabilities that need those adaptive trails as well.
Yeah.
So I guess it's good for everyone, but
I think like a big thing with it is like, I don't know, like it's kind of funny, like people get like, like talk about like all, just like wanting to do adaptive trails and things like that. I think, Glenn Jacobs is doing like heaps of cool stuff at the moment, like with what he's sort of calling like airflow trails, which are more like more or less, just like a trail that anyone and everyone can ride, like with progressive sort of features on it, so that it's almost like a blue, like a blue trail, like with black features, or like features that sort of vary up to black, that type of thing, and you can just progressively go bigger and go harder, like safely, and like really like especially for a bowhead bike, like all you need is just like a bike park trail, like like a blue trail, like like it's fine, like for most people really kind of thing. So I don't know, like I get that there's got to be standards and things probably and stuff like that, but I think like a big part of there's some people that sort of get too hung up on that or whatever and everything. It's just like just make it for everyone, make it cool for everyone, and it's like everyone loves like a trail that like just flows and rides really well and like is built properly and good is fun for us, but it's fun for you know, a mum and a kid that are going out for their first time riding a bike, and it's fun for, you know, I guess like, you know, a pro level downhill rider, you know, that still finds, you know, like speed and just like everything out of it. You just hit it faster and harder, and like it's good. When trails are built good like that, you know, like it's good for everyone, you know, and that's a cool thing. You know, like I get that there's, you know, like I know like as an able-bodied rider, I was always wanting just like stuff like natural and raw and hard to ride and everything like that. And there's places for that as well still, and needs to be there too. So something for everyone, really.
It's funny, like in Queensland, we helped make one of the first adaptive trails up there, like me and another guy up there, and we spoke to the trail builders and they went ahead and built it, and turns out it was like the most ridden trail in that network. Like everyone just frothed it because like it wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard, and it was good for like the whole family and just had good flow, and you know, it still is like one of the most ridden trails on that network. Is just it was
that's 100% it though. Like it just needs to be stuff that's like built well and built right, like literally, you know, just so that someone who's virtually first timer can ride down it and have a good time, but then someone who's elite, you know, can still ride down it and have a good time, and that isn't impossible, you know, definitely doable. So
100%. Well, Orange Rip was voted SA's best trail last year, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Which is the adaptive trail, and everyone's frothing it. It's wild. And then as you mentioned with like blue trails and stuff, if I'd go to Medina a fair bit and I'd followed Baxter down a blue trail and he was doing stuff I'd never think of. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly. That's and the whole thing, right?
Go and ride with Frenchie's son, who's 10. And still having as much fun, and get like that's a blue trail.
And it's like you can find stuff like, you know, and that can be built into it, just like with hits off to the side or whatever, and things like that, just sniper lines and whatever, you know, like that's the whole thing. Pretty easy, really, I think.
Make something that's fun.
Yeah.
What was it like getting to Wollonga for state champs last year then? Because it was a bit difficult for you on the pink bike, but then on the Bowhead it was fine.
I guess like it's like just like like Wollonga's wicked. Like it's cool, but like I guess like some of the Camber is definitely you know tricky on that hill. Like it's funny, like you'd look at that hill and just think that like it's a flat paddock, but like some of the like the Camber and stuff like that like it's really tricky. So
as soon as I saw that, I called her. I was like, this is not going to happen on the pink bike.
So with the adaptive trails, do they need to be bench cut in more for those bikes, or is it
Camber? It like prolongs to the Camber at slow speed. Like it's like something that like never works well. For an adaptive bike, especially if it's like when you're losing speed, like you know, like if you're holding speed sort of, you know, like down it or following the fall line, like it's not so bad. But like if it's like a section of like off Camber and you're losing speed, and then you know, like almost like going uphill or slowing down, like that's when it becomes hard. Like But like if you're off Camber, you know, on a Bowhead bike and you're following the fall line, you know, like it's still workable and doable, but it's when it's like if you're
gone up,
like if you're falling down the hill in a bad way, you know, like, or sliding down the hill in a bad way, that's not a good time. Or going up when you're losing speed, particularly like if you're trying to pedal, you know, rather than just throttling, that's a hard time. So, but like Wollonga is like I guess like 90% of that track, like for a Bowhead, is just like, you know, like a walk in the park, you know. But then there's like a couple of other little bits where it's just like, you know, it doesn't seem like anything, but because you're just like on the wrong side of the Camber and you know, sliding down into a gully, you know, 100 meters down a hill that, you know, you're probably never coming out of, like it's, not a good time. So
in that I mean, this year we saw just general bikes, people just get offline and they're down in that gully.
Exactly.
Probably still there, but you mentioned Cairns and you're building some stuff up around the East Coast for that. But you both went to Crankworx last year. Or was it this year? This year. It's been so much going on.
I know.
What was that experience like? Were you the first adaptive riders at a Crankworx series?
No, they've had some at like, they've had some at Rotorua and Canada.
Whistler as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but this is the first time that they've had something in Australia. Crankworx,
Yes.
it was awesome.
Yeah. But I think it was rad. Like it was like a last minute like call up and everything like that. But yeah, like just like such a cool thing, just because like all the people that were behind it were just like all really good people that just like wanted to make cool stuff happen, like, and I guess it was just a sort of thing where like, like we got up there and it was just a case of like the big thing that they always sort of wanted to have was like, an activation, so that like people could sort of see what was possible.
Yeah.
And, not about it just being like a token thing or anything like that. And I guess, it was just like, it was really cool. Like I was pretty keen to sort of get after like anything and everything that I could, whether it was like, like out like trail riding or, like I was pushing them really hard to let me do the whip off. And in the end, they sort of, like, it was close, but then they sort of, like just backed out the last second. I think they were a little bit nervous, but look, I mean, it's understandable, but like it would have been fine. And it was just like, hopefully like it's the sort of thing we can do it next year. And, I was explaining it to them. It's just like, like you've got this opportunity where it's just like, you've got this amphitheater here, like with people and bikes and everything like that. Just like, if people see, like, a dude hitting, like that jump on an adaptive bike and it's blasting, like it's the sort of thing where people just like stop and just be like, what the actual, and so like that was, like one thing we missed, but like, we got to ride the slalom and like the slalom was wicked just because like, I guess like, like all the good dudes are involved, like Remy and all the Flux guys, like, everything like that. And just having like so many, good people there sort of like, like all, like wanting to sort of be behind it. Like, Craig is the president of the local mountain bike club up there. Like, was just like, like 110% into just like getting, us into anything and everything and just getting after it kind of thing. And yeah, like, I guess like, we got a crack on the slalom and that was fun and like cool. And then, like I was really keen, like to ride the downhill track as well. And so then, like, I guess like, Craig was really good sort of like pushing and advocating for it and just like sneaking us in the back door when we weren't even meant to and stuff as well kind of thing, just to try and like get a look at the track and everything. And like everyone was behind it, like, it's just like rad. And, to be able to ride down that track, I only really got like 2.5 sort of like laps down it. And like the first time we sort of went down to sort of scout it and stuff, and I rode like with my mate Lockie and then Craig sort of down it, and sort of just like the whole idea of just like didn't even know if I'd be able to get through it, and I thought there was probably like a few sections I wouldn't get through, and it got to a couple of sections and I was just like, oh, like, I don't think I can get through this, and just got help to get through. And then we sort of made it all the way down through though, just like with help. And then the next day, like Craig and I sort of snuck up after the course closed, and he took me on an adventure through the rainforest to sneak in towards like the top of the track when no one was meant to be on it and stuff. And we literally sort of like dropped in below the rock garden, just like he and I like solo, and just like, we'll just see what we can do. And like, like he sort of like came to like one spot, and like the first sort of spot where it's just like he didn't know whether I'd sort of get through, and like I just like got through, and it was pretty fired up. So and then like it's funny, like he just like he was riding in front to sort of call things out, and then he's just like just go, like, and so like I just like took off, and then like he caught up kind of things. Like I sort of, like waited just when we got around this one section, he's like, just go, like, and so then I was just like, I'm just gonna try this, and just got through everything, like other than like the rock garden at the top. And I think like getting through, like the what's called the generator section at the bottom, which is like a rocky sort of waterfall and stuff, like solo on my own, it's just like, if I can do this, like, like I'm good, so so,
that's sick.
And then we got the crack the next day, which was wicked. So and it was just, even the rock garden at the top, like I got through that like with a couple of wobbles, like all under like my own steam and stuff. But it'll be sick to get back next year and like actually get like proper like practice time, and just like actually then be able to like get through it, like, like at speed and properly, it'd be cool. So
and probably have a few people in the class as well.
That's it. There's like heaps of people already keen, like from North America and stuff like that want to come over, and we've got so many customers here with bikes that want to be involved in everything now, so it'll be rad.
I guess it was like, a good way to show them what can be done and, what needs to, like the small adjustments that might need to be made to make it adaptive friendly for like a whole bunch more people.
Yeah.
I don't think many people are going to be throwing themselves down the World Cup downhill, but like there are, little, adjustments that can be made for other events. And
and I mean, there's already talk of like, like the slalom is something that they can do really easily, and like I guess like having good people behind it, like they know, and like the slalom is something that can be done really easily, and then like I guess like they don't have like an air DH race like in Cairns at the moment, which is something that I'd like to have. And like there's already sort of talk around building like more of like like an adaptive trail or like a trail that they can race like air DH on, and then we can race it like as a downhill race as well. That's kind of thing. So we could have a slalom for adaptive bikes, and then have a downhill, like race, down a suitable track for everyone kind of thing. And then like if there's a few of us that want to ride like the World Cup track, hopefully they'll let us do that again. And whip off.
I was about to say, and whip off.
Yeah.
Did you ride the slalom track?
Yeah, I got it. Grant let me borrow his reach to give that a go. Yeah.
What was it like being back at a Crankworx event riding slalom? Because that's kind of where your injury happened, right, in Roto?
Four cross, yeah.
Four cross,
kind of similar, I guess, yeah. No, it was just awesome to be back at, like, I haven't been to a big mountain biker event or anything since like my accident, so it was awesome to be back in the community and just like everyone's stoked to be there. It was just an awesome atmosphere, and
what was it like riding that slalom also? Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty wicked. I was pretty sketched to start with, like I wasn't too sure, and then Grant did a few runs and I just sort of watched and was like, oh yeah, like if he's got through it, like surely we can just pin it and go for it. So they did make like a little adaptation to start with off the first jump for our first practice. Okay. They put like because it was like a jump that you couldn't really roll through. They just put like a pallet?
Just a pallet.
Yeah.
Just a pallet there. And like after the first couple of runs, we were both clearing it. So yeah.
Those berms down the bottom looked like they were almost made for you guys, like on those bikes.
It was so fun to look into,
Yeah.
Yeah, Baxter didn't have a good time.
No.
No, Baxter did not.
Poor guy.
That was so wild. Well, if anyone's going to do that, it's going to be Baxter.
Yeah.
Will you guys, or are you going to go overseas to any of the other Crankworx and try and get to them and ride those?
Yeah, I think, like this year I'm just kind of a bit stitched up with commitments with road cycling and stuff like that. But kind of hoping not to be but hey, I guess I am sort of for this year, but next year, like I'm pretty sure I will, kind of thing, for sure. So and I need to I don't know, like I'm really excited actually to go. I haven't been to Canada I haven't been to Canada for mountain bikes like for years. I've been there like for road stuff like a number of times and everything like that. And like last year I was at Road World Championships when like Monster and was on and stuff. And it's just like literally like driving past and just like, what am I doing with my life? And like, just like, even like there was, one of the other mechanics that was on the trip. He's like, do you reckon we could just bail and like literally go and watch the World Cup? And like my road race was on at the same time. I was just like so dark on it. So, and like usually it was because, my road race is on Saturday afternoon and usually like downhill races on the Sunday afternoon, but it was just like, the timing was like exactly the same. It was like, this is not good. So, but I'm pretty keen to sort of, get back over there and just like catch up with like all old friends and then, all the new friends and stuff like that we only talk to on video calls and emails and Instagram messages and things like that. So, it'll be rad to sort of get over there with everyone and, get wild.
Yeah.
I'm pretty keen to head back to Rotorua one, just to kick that off the list of I've ridden there again and can put that demon to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. Is it going to be Crankworx Roto next year?
I assume so.
Yeah, hope so.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Is there talk of more of a World Cup style race scene or some competition scene for adaptive mountain biking or anything?
Well, I can tell you here first, it's going to be in the Brisbane 2032 Paralympics. So.
Yeah, sick.
If you say it out loud, it makes it true.
If I say it enough, it'll make it happen, right? So I do put that on social media a bunch, and people are like, oh, is it actually going to be in there? I'm just like, yeah, if I keep saying it, it will be. So, so we say it here again now. It's just like another step for it. So, yeah. I don't know, like, I think it's the sort of thing where they could actually do it, like, you know, like, you know, it's becoming, you know, like more and more of a thing, and like, you know, I'd love to, you know, help be a part of it, like to, you know, make it happen, like, you know, like it, you know, more of like an international sort of level and things like that. So, you know, in some sort of way, shape and form. And I think probably Crankworx is the best sort of format for it because, yeah, like the whole UCI thing is like, yeah, like weird and kind of painful and stuff like that. And yeah, the less that it has to do with horse cycling, probably the easier it'll be as well and stuff as well. And Crankworx is like a good way that it can just like, sort of go through that kind of channel. And like Crankworx is like a pretty big deal. And there's like the, you know, the number of international stops and things like that. And those people are really good to work with, you know, like I guess like, you know, people that, like do all this sort of stuff, like run the, you know, the events like internationally, you know, like are really good and have their finger on the pulse with all that sort of stuff and are supportive of it. So that's, you know, like a big thing for us for sure. So yeah.
All comes down to that first concept of it's just people wanting to do cool stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, like I think, you know, Cairns was like a pretty cool thing for them to sort of see that, you know, like it was just like, you know, like I said that to them. It's just like, you know, like the whole thing of, like doing the downhill and everything like that. It's like no one's like, you know, ridden an adaptive downhill or like an adaptive bike down, you know, like a World Cup or World Champs, you know, like downhill track before. It's like, I was like, I guess like a bit of a pitch to them. It's like, you guys have got the opportunity to actually, you know, like let someone do that kind of thing and like, you know, like show what's possible and just like make cool stuff happen. And like for sure they were nervous about it and I get it. And it's just like, I said to them like all along, it's just like, you know, like I don't want to, you know, like get hurt or do anything dumb or like, you know, do anything just to put it back with, you know, like I can do this, like, but like, let's do it safely and make it cool and make it right. And it's, again, like Renee sort of said, it's not for probably everyone, but, you know, like it's still, you know, like some people are capable of it. And there's like a couple of other guys I know that would, you know, probably be, you know, good to ride down it as well kind of thing. Yeah. And, you know, like it'd be rad, you know, like for us to actually like, you know.
Easy. Rad. Hopefully this gets out to a few people that are looking to get into adaptive mountain biking or take themselves a bit further if they're a wheelchair user. But what advice do you guys have for crew looking to get more adventurous or take that next step to getting out there into nature if they're a wheelchair user or, you know, someone that's kind of struggling to, even like general public or whoever's just scared of getting out there, like what is your advice, I guess, to those crew?
Yeah, come down see us at Push. Like I'd love to get, like there's not many women like in Australia on adaptive bikes and I'd love to see that expand. Like, you know, that'd be amazing. Like it doesn't have to be crazy downhill stuff. Like, you know, there's green trails or even just fire trails, like right around out in the bush. Like, I know you like, they probably see us doing, you know, gnarly stuff and think like, that's not for me, but like, it's just the joy of getting out there into the bush and like hanging out with your mates and like family and like, it doesn't have to be crazy. These things just open up like the world. Like, well, you know, I'm keen to, you know, just take my dog out for a walk down out in the bush. Like,
true.
You know, like I haven't been able to do that. My current bike's not really suitable for it. Whereas, you know, the Bowhead's a much more comfortable position and more capable and just like I'll feel more independent, you know, and I just want to see more people on them because share the stoke, share the joy. Yeah,
I think that's like my biggest thing is like I love helping people, you know, and just like seeing people, you know, like get out and after it and, you know, to their own level. And I guess like it's the sort of thing, you know, like even if it's not like, it might be someone who's listening to this that has, I mean, these bikes aren't just for wheelchair users either, right? Like, you know, like, you know, I'm not having got you either, sorry. But yeah, these things, you know, like literally like Stevie Smith's mum rides one. I think I can't, she has, I should actually know, but I don't, she has some sort of impairment, but yeah, like she rides one, you know, like, and it's just sort of thing, you know, like where, like people that are ambulatory, can walk, might be someone living with MS or, anything like that, that can't ride or finds it difficult to ride a normal bike or just like to access places and wants to go places, do things or just have fun, and I think, that's something that like Renee just said before, like about the dog, it's just like one of the best things about like my bike is I just love like taking my dog out, and just like she just runs and just like absolutely loves it, she loves it even more than what I do. It's just like she literally sees like the helmet, and and the bike and like the gear and like knows like I'm getting dressed to ride and she's just like, oh, like we're going. And then like she's got this twitch where I say to her, just like when I'm like G'ing her up, I'm like, you want to go for a ride, Arlo? And she just does this funny thing like with her head, like she twitches it sideways and like she just like knows and she's like, oh fuck, like let's go, like, like we're going. And just like, and it's like it's really funny as well because like it's just like such an enjoyable thing, just like to be able to like as a chair user or someone that can't like walk, like a long distance or anything like that, to be able to exercise your dog, and hang out with your dog. Everyone knows like how good dogs are, right? Like like mental health, well-being and everything like that. And to have one and to be able to like actually go out and like exercise, with your dog like is good, But yeah, I don't know. I just want to help people and, like perhaps someone might hear this that, like literally like, like has a mate of a mate or something like that or someone that might, like we might be able to help, and that's what we're here to do. And, I think another cool thing is like, like having, like both of us here as well, like both like a guy and a girl, like that was a big thing, like why I wanted Renee here is, to be able to sort of like help, like I guess, other girls to be involved and, like to see, another girl doing it and everything like that as well, like is a big thing because, like bikes aren't sausage fest, like it's, it's, and it's wicked seeing so many girls that are riding now and enjoying it because it should be like that. So, and it should be the same way for adaptive stuff as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a super solid point about not just being for wheelchair users because, I'm now that guy behind a desk that's only narrow-mindedly looking at that bike and saying, it's only for wheelchair users. But,
it's totally cool. And like, it's just the sort of thing where like, just like some people just like, like can walk, but it's like hard, or can ride a normal bike, but it's just like, it's not great. Like, like don't fight it. Like, like we see lots of people like that. Like even people that like, like can walk that are reluctant to get a wheelchair just because, they think that like, they see a wheelchair as a, as a negative, but like it's an enabler, it's a good thing, like when people see it like portrayed like as a positive sort of thing and you see, like I guess like kind of crappy when you see like some companies like market it as just like, like a sad picture of like an old person just being pushed around with a chair or whatever kind of thing. But like, like a chair is literally like someone out pushing and doing fun stuff, that's what it can be, lots of good that can come of it. So
even like older crew that are chilling in their Gophers, like they can't go off road. And they might have come from a moto background, like way back, and they want to get out and get in it, but they only see the Bowhead as a chair user thing, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy like literally like that one of our mechanic Mikey saw yesterday who's like using this attachment on the front of his manual chair and he's kind of trying to ride it like a Bowhead and then Mikey like was just like, oh, do you know about these things? And like showed him and like the guy was just like instantly just like I need one. And it's like, yeah, you do. You don't want one, you need it. So yeah. And it, like it's just like, he's been just like belting his wheelchair and like his powered attachment and stuff. And, like, when he saw this, he's just like, oh, how come I didn't know about this? And it's just like, oh, you do now. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Permission.
I don't think I've seen anyone get in one able-bodied or have a disability or whatever and not come back with our smile. Like,
or want one afterwards. So
that's why I'm not going to have a go on one. They look so fun.
Yeah.
Last question. I'll wrap it up with what's the music you guys or what have you guys been listening to get motivated or been digging lately?
Oh, I'm terrible. I listen to heaps of stuff.
yeah, it's pretty.
I need to look at my Spotify.
It's pretty eclectic kind of music going on in this.
I can imagine.
this building, yeah.
I can imagine.
I listen to so much stuff, but yeah, like looking probably at my Spotify recent favorites is probably something good. There's a bunch of Arcade Fire there.
Yep.
What is that? Yeah. I don't know. I just listen to so much.
So much going on.
Yeah.
So much like different stuff. I'm excited about the new PJ Harvey album that's coming soon.
Sick.
I don't know. Too much.
It's too much stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, the best album that I've heard in ages is the new Adelaide album.
Okay.
That's really cool. I don't know. Like, I can tell you right now that will be like my number one in my Spotify Lite this year, and I think I would be like her, like actual number one of most played. Like, you know, like I get that thing of like, like you're in the top percentage or whatever, of, you know, like at the end of the year and you're wrapped and everything like that. But I'm sure this year, like I will actually get like the trophy, like of like like the most played. So
sick.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a listen to it later.
Yeah. But that's a really good album. Inland it's called. So
sick.
Yeah.
How about you, Renee? Anything you've been listening to that's good?
I don't know if it's good, but no.
Yeah, that's good if you like it.
I'm a bit of a range. Like, just depends how I'm feeling. Like, I absolutely thrashed the new City in Colour album like the start of the year. But then swap over to like Architects and
sick.
Alexis on Fire and everything like that as well. Just depends on the mood as to what I want to listen to. Yeah.
Did you see them when they were in?
Yeah.
House?
I got COVID at the Architects gig.
Yeah, sick. That's
which
what you
was the week before I finished up work. So called in sick for my last week of work up in Queensland and sounded a bit sketchy.
At least you got a test for this one. Yeah.
I do remember one last one that's coming this year as well. It's a Death Cult album as well, which will be out like I think it's like August, September kind of thing. It's not far away as well. Yeah. And that one will be a really good one as well. Kelly, if you're listening, you need to hurry up and release that album. So.
Sick. Well, guys, thanks so much. It's been insightful and I've really enjoyed this.
Cheers.
So,
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Speak soon.
All good.
There we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Really rad to chat with those guys. It's pretty inspirational talk. Pretty interesting stuff. And, man, as per usual, Grant and Renee have been really blowing our minds. I hope you really enjoyed that episode. As per usual, head over to Trek Bikes, Franked Mountain Bike Apparel, Showed Bike Care, Fist Handwear, Taylor Trails, Lead Out Sports, Dirt Surfer, Captac Caps or Oakley. Support them because they support us. If you want to support the podcast directly, head over to our merch store at beyondthetape.com.au. And if you don't want to spend any cash and still support the potty, make sure you share it around with your dog, your nana, your mum, your best mate, your neighbour, whoever, and let them know about the potty. Or share it on socials, even easier. Thanks for listening to that one, and until next time, have a bunch of fun.